Hi, and welcome to the library. My name is Bethany. I'm so excited you're here. This is episode 13, and today we're going to talk about books for adults, or books that you can give as gifts to the reader in your life. If you are like my friends and family, they never know what to give the avid reader in their life. What books have they read? What books have they not read? I think that I've chosen some books that maybe the reader in your life has not heard of, or maybe has not read. If you have read these books, I'm going to be so happy. So let's get started. It's a little bit of a variety, which is going to be fun. Okay, let's start with nonfiction. And I have several. These span all different, but this one is called A Woman of No Importance by Sonia Purnell. And this book tells of Virginia Hall. She's an American spy during World War II. This story is incredible. It's remarkable, and I am forever grateful that I read this book. One of my favorite Olympic memoirs to ever have read is But Now I See by Steve Holcomb. And Steve Holcomb is a Team USA Hall of Famer for bobsledding. He won gold with he and his teammates. And this tells his story. And I think that this book should be read by everyone. It's remarkable. Steve and his companion and his teammates are amazing. And I have a lot of respect for Steve. I don't really like celebrity memoirs. I find that they tend to be the same, but I'm going to make an exception for this. Tom Felton, Beyond the Wand. He played Draco in the Harry Potter movies, and now he's playing Draco on Broadway. But this is such a thoughtfully and well-written book. I really, really enjoyed it. I could see that he could very easily go into writing as a career if he chose to do that, because he writes very well. It was a fun read. Okay, this next book I'm very excited about. I love this book. This is The Year of Our Lord, 1943 by Alan Jacobs. And this tells the story. It says Christian humanism in an age of crisis, and it really follows the culture at large during like 1943, World War II, but it centers around the Inklings. And to me, this was just an incredible book. It really kind of shows like the thought process and how the world was changing, and the response for Christians and Christian thinkers and Christian really influencers and writers and authors of that time. I just think that this book is remarkable, and it sent me on a journey of learning about the Inklings and learning about more about what was happening during that time frame. It was excellent book. Literally one of my favorite books. This book probably is Reading Behind Bars. I read several books about the reading lives of prisoners. This book is by Jill Grunewald, and it's a true story of literature, law, and life as a prison librarian. I find this fascinating. It's probably no surprise that I like to read books about books or read books about libraries, because I do. But I just find this is really interesting. It's just so well written and really great. I read another one about, it was like Shakespeare in prison or something. I can't find it, but Reading Behind Bars was just so interesting and so well done. Okay, let's move on. This is based on a true event in the life of Agatha Christie, The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict. Marie Benedict writes books about famous women in history, and she writes them in a way that feels like it's fiction, but it's actually true. I have a number of her books, and I enjoy reading her books very much. But this story is the true story of when Agatha Christie herself disappeared. And kind of like, we don't really know a lot about that situation. Agatha Christie never actually really came out and explained what happened. And so this is Marie Benedict's, she's gathered that information, and this is her retelling of what happened during that time period that Agatha Christie goes missing. But I think that not only is this book excellent, any of the books by Marie Benedict, excellent. I love her. I think she's amazing. Okay, the next few books, Atomic Habits, I'm sure by James Clear. This is a very popular book. I'm sure a lot of people have read it. But if you have someone who's like, I really want to I like self-help, I like books that going into the new year that are going to help me reach my goals, that one's a really good one. And it's really well researched too, and it's very interesting. Okay, this book is The Antisocial Network by Ben Mesrick. I'm recommending this book less because of this book and more because of Ben Mesrick. I really like Ben Mesrick as an author, and I think he's written a lot of incredible books that they're centered around technology, and it's just, he's a journalist, and when journalists write books, they weave a story that's phenomenal. So Ben Mesrick is someone that I highly recommend. Leave Only Footprints by Connor Knighton is this really interesting book of Connor as he sets off to explore America's best idea, which is this national parks. And I loved this book. You probably are familiar with Connor if you're he does like a lot of like things with like CBS, I think, or 60 Minutes. He's a journalist, but this book is amazing. Really inspired me to want to go visit all the national parks. The History of the World in 6 Glasses tells the history of the world by Tom Standage. So it explores the Coca-Cola, wait, hold on, let's try that again. Beer, wine, spirits, coffee, tea, and Coca-Cola. This is so amazing. Throughout the history of the world, how these 6 drinks influence the world, or how the world was influenced by them. It's so interesting. Okay, this is heading into more fictional, but I love this book. It's the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. They have now made a movie I think it's on Netflix, but I love this book. I went through and read more books about Guernsey Island after reading this book. This book is by Marianne Schaefer and Annie Barrows. It's so good. It's so good. If you watch the movie, read the books. Okay? If you're looking for more classics, maybe you have someone in your life who, like me, likes classics. Frankenstein is having a moment right now on Book Talk, and I love it. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley is not the book that you think it is. It is not about the monster that you think it is. It is so much better. To be completely honest with you, it took me a really long time to read this book, not because it just sat on my shelf, but because I could not get over the first paragraph of the first page of the first chapter for about 6 months or several months. I would read it and then cry because it was so beautiful, and then have to stop and like think about it. And then I would come back to it and get stuck on the same paragraph again. She invented this genre of books that are like horror, but there is a greater story being told. I also I love Treasure Island. I think it's so fun by Robert Louis Stevenson. Every few years, I will choose an author, particularly if they're like it's an older or more classic book or author, and I will read everything they've ever written. And I did that with Robert Louis Stevenson. I have since found 2 more books of his, which is a pleasure. It's a joy that I'm not finished reading him because Robert Louis Stevenson, this book is amazing. Okay, and also I'm Hannah Coulter by Wendell Berry. I'm actually suggesting that anything by Wendell Berry is phenomenal. He's such an incredible writer, and he represents American farmers so well. So read Wendell Berry. Okay, let's move to more fiction, shall we? Okay, these are some books that I just find them to be really fun and really interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed. The Invisible Husband of Frick Island by Colleen Oakley. She's a Georgia author, I believe. But this book was really interesting. It's about an invisible husband, and the island just goes with it, and it's very well done. Remarkably Bright Creatures is a book they're making a movie out of this book by Shelby Van Pelt. I had to remember her name. Anyways, Remarkably Bright Creatures is a newer book. It's very popular. Maybe the reader in your life has read it, but I'm always surprised by a number of people who haven't read it. It's about an octopus, but my favorite thing about this book is that Shelby Van Pelt got the idea because she watched a YouTube video about an octopus. Isn't that fantastic? The book Woman of Troublesome Creek by Kim Michelle Richardson is it's based on the true event where people, typically women, were like traveling librarians, and they would have these books on the back of mules and go through the Appalachian Mountains, and this is their story. There's another book by a very famous author that came out the same time as this one. This is the right one to read. Read this one. If you're looking for like romance, here are my favorite authors to read. One is Sarah Adams, When in Rome. This is a series that she has. There's a new book coming out the end of December. But anything by Sarah Adams is just fun. It's cozy and lighthearted and good reading. And it's just a fun book to read. Any of her books are a fun book to read. And then lastly, everyone's fine. Lastly, it's Emma St. Clair, If All Else Fails. She's got a number of books. I like all of her books. She's really funny. This is clean romance, so you can give it to the teenager in your life. You can give it to, you don't have to worry about anything inappropriate. It's just good fun reading, and it's fun and it's lighthearted. So there's some books for the adult reader in your life. Have a great day.